Traveling to another country and returning back to the US used to be a simple process. All you needed to remember was to bring your passport with you. Nowadays, the process is much more complicated and you need to be extra careful that you're doing everything right so you don't get stranded abroad. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 5 most common mistakes I see travelers make when trying to return back to the US. Let's go.
Dream vacations start here.
The first common mistake I see travelers make is not getting tested in the proper amount of time. Right now, the U.S. requires you to get tested 1 day before you're to return back to the U.S. It used to be 3 days, but because of the spike in COVID cases, they reduced it to 1 day. Most people have been confused by this and think you have to get tested within 24 hours of your flight leaving, which is not the case. You can be tested at any time the day before your flight. So for example, if you have a 2 p.m. flight, you can schedule a COVID test at 8 a.m. the day before your flight. Just make sure that when you get your COVID test, you're able to get the results for that test before your flight is set to depart. The number 2 mistake not to make when returning back to the U.S. is not getting the right COVID test. The U.S. is very specific about which COVID tests are acceptable to be able to re-enter the U.S. The acceptable tests include antigen, including rapid antigen test, NAAT, which stands for Nucleic Acid Amplification Test, RT-LAMP, which stands for Loop Medicated Isothermal Amplification, RT-PCR, which stands for Polymers Chain Reaction, or a TMA, which stands for Transcription Medicated Amplification. Most of these tests can be performed at most major airports around the world and also at the resorts and hotels you're staying at. Now, some resorts and hotels do charge a fee for COVID tests, while others are free of charge. The fastest and cheapest test you can get is the rapid antigen test. You can usually get results back within a couple hours, if not sooner. The other option is to buy a self-test. Now, you can't just go to the store and buy just any COVID self-test. They do have to meet certain requirements, and those requirements are: 1, the test must be a SARS-CoV-2 viral test or antigen test with emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. 2, the testing procedure must include a telehealth service affiliated with the manufacturer of the test that provides real-time supervision remotely through an audio and video connection. And 3, the telehealth provider must confirm your identity, observe the sample collection and testing procedures, confirm the test result, and issue a report that meets the requirements of the CDC's order. If you're going to do a self-test, once you complete all the testing requirements, they'll just email you the results and you can use that as proof of testing to be able to re-enter the US. If you're interested in picking up a self-test kit, I will link to some options in the video description below that meet all these requirements, so check those out if you're interested. The third mistake I see travelers make when returning back to the US is arriving to the airport too late. If you haven't traveled internationally since before the pandemic, then you might be in for a shock to see how long the lines are when checking in for a flight. This is because the airlines now have to check for a number of things before they can allow you to board their airplanes back home. This would include passports, COVID tests, and if you're not a U.S. citizen or a resident of the U.S., then you also have to check for proof of vaccination as well. Because of this, lines at the airport can be really long and slow. Most airlines have the ability for you to upload a lot of this information onto their websites or through an app like Verifly. Once you have done this, then you'll be able to receive your digital boarding pass. This will allow you to bypass the check-in lines and head straight to security. If you are checking bags, you would just need to stop by a kiosk to print your bag tags before heading to security. Otherwise, I would suggest you arrive to the airport 3 hours before your flight to avoid the possibility of missing your flight. The fourth mistake I see travelers make is forgetting to declare food. I admit I have made this mistake before. I had packed a banana in my backpack that I was going to eat before boarding my international flight back to the US, but I forgot all about it, and when I arrived at US Customs, one of the canine units sniffed out my banana and I was forced to throw it away, and the rest of my bag was searched. I luckily was not fined, but if you fail to declare food, you could be fined up to $10,000 for serious offenses. You should not be afraid to declare food at the border, as most packaged food products like candy, breads, crackers, etc. can be brought in without issue and won't even need to be inspected. You will only face additional questioning for products like fruits, meats, eggs, and things like that. And lastly, the fifth mistake I see travelers make when returning back to the US is not investing in global entry. Now that international travelers are finally allowed back in the U.S., the country is experiencing a surge of visitors, causing longer entry lines at land borders and international airports. After a long flight home, the last thing you'll want to do is wait in a customs line for hours. Instead, spend the $100 fee on a 5-year global entry membership, which will allow you to speed through re-entry into the U.S. You'll find it is worth the cost. If you want more information about what global entry is and how to apply for it, you can check out a video I did on the global entry and TSA PreCheck programs found in the video description. If you're thinking about taking an international trip this year but want help planning and navigating all the different restrictions out there, then feel free to contact me. I am a travel agent and I've been helping travelers like yourself planned successful international trips since the start of the pandemic. You can find my contact information in the video show notes if you're interested in using my services. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found this video helpful to you, and consider subscribing to get more travel-related videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.